It's time for this week's social media roundup. Joining as she does every week, Carlin Bathe. How are you doing today, Carlin?
I am doing well, Jesse. Just had my coffee. I'm all pepped up. I'm ready to go. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing quite well, thank you. I was shocked at how much stuff we managed to cram into this week's social media roundup.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there are just things that are happening that we're trying to just let you all know about at home. And let's start off with number one, which is the new Instagram live show, Small Talk Tuesdays, that we had our very first guest, Luke Robitaille. And it was a dual Instagram live between myself and him where fans got to kind of join in, ask a bunch of questions. We heard about some bad luck meatballs that turned into good luck meatballs during the San Jose series in 2014. And it was just a really cool time to kind of like unwind and I don't know, hang out for a little while. So, I mean, how cool is it that we can just have this kind of access, Jesse, and be able to talk to some fan favorites during this time?
Very cool. And I thought Luke seemed very relaxed and very engaged. I do want to know what that was on his hat, though.
What was on his hat?
It looked like a USS. I mean, it looked like a hat for a ship, right? For a naval ship, but I couldn't see the.
I couldn't see either.
I couldn't read the name.
We're gonna have to ask him. I couldn't see it at all. Oh my gosh, he's like a little tiny box on my phone. So,
but moving forward, every Wednesday then at
every Tuesday.
Sorry, Tuesday. I forgot what day it was.
Small Talk Tuesday. I know
Right.
Day is it? Oh my gosh, we all feel that way. Number two, we had Enos and Anjay again back on the list. This time they were baking bread, and she posted some photos on her Instagram story of some nice looking loaves that looked like they had some time and effort put into them. And I mean, everybody seems to be baking bread nowadays. So
and making their own yeast. That's the new kick, right?
Are you gonna jump on the train?
No. No, my local Ralph's has brioche loaves with chocolate chips in them, and I discovered them in week one of this shutdown, and I sort of fell in love, so I'm good.
There you go. Oh my goodness. Also, doesn't it take like a week or something to make a loaf? I don't know. It's like it's a process. Yeah. All I know is my mom was like, I've had this one and I've been dressing it for 7 days, and I'm like, how? Why? That's so much effort. Oh my gosh. But props to them for making it happen.
And they look good.
They did. They look delicious. Number 3 on the list, we have a tweet from Dieter Rule, who, for fans who don't know, is the organist at Staples Center. And this was something super special. He posted a letter that he had kept from April 25th, 1982, where he wrote to Bob Miller, and Bob Miller had written him back. And basically, he just thanked Dieter for his letter and his comments about the Kings broadcast, and kind of talked about the reason why he doesn't see many televised games on there, and so on and so forth, and ended it with, have a nice summer, and thank you for your interest in the Kings, which is just so wholesome and Bob Miller-esque, if you really think about it. And then 7 years later, he became the organist for the Kings. So it was kind of like a legend talking to a future legend in the making, Jesse.
And I would encourage anybody watching this to go back, look up all the Kings men, lakings.com/podcast. You might have to do a little digging, or you can just Google, I suppose, all the Kings men, Dieter Rule. But we spoke to Dieter a few seasons ago in one of our behind the scenes features, and he tells the story of how he got the job. And it's basically by writing a letter, the same way he did to Bob Miller. He wrote a letter to, I think, the Lakers. And I think if I remember the story correctly, he tells it obviously much better than I'm doing right now on the podcast. But I think they also owned the indoor soccer team. And at the age of like 16 or 17, he got the job as the organist for the indoor soccer team. And then a few seasons later, when the Lakers guy left, he took on the job with the Lakers, and then obviously the Kings, the Dodgers, and everything else he does. It's an incredible story. Like I said, I encourage people to go find it.
Definitely go and listen to that. He's an incredible person and really good organist at that.
He's the best.
I thought that was so special, and I love keepsapes like that. I mean, this is why you hang on to things. This is why we don't throw things away, so you can look at them literally 30-something years later. Number 4 on the list, we've got Meatball and his chains. Yeah. And first of all, I did not know this, but the Luff Pups have an Instagram. So there's more than one Luff Pup here. We've got Meatball Luff and we have Gibson Luff, and you can follow them at the Luff Pups on Instagram. And Matt Luff got a chain for Meatball that I think all other Bark Madness champions will be jealous of, for his bark to bark champion.
Yeah, back to Bark Madness Championships.
Mark Madness champion. And it's quite a cute picture of him kind of rocking his new chain. So make sure to follow the Love Pups on Instagram. And I mean, did you know they had their own Instagram?
I did. I'm not on the selection committee for Bark Madness, but I'm very close friends with people that are. I mean, if any dog had to eventually become the first back-to-back champion, I'm glad it was Meatball.
Me too. He's a good one. Now we have a final thing on this list here that is kind of funny that it came out recently, but happened over the holidays. And the Kings held a secret Santa where Ben Hutton had Drew Doughty as his person that he had to purchase a gift for. And Ben Hutton went the extra mile and totally pulled a full troll job on Drew by getting him a signed Matthew Tkachuk stick. And like totally just like planned it out with the Kings trainers and the Flames trainers. And on one of our trips up to Calgary during December, very sneakily had this happen and made it happen. And he basically told the story on one of the Athletics podcasts and said, you know, Doughty doesn't know about it. And I have a hard time believing that Doughty doesn't know about it now.
Yeah.
All over the internet. But holy smokes, for a rivalry that's gone on for as long as it has, and for a newcomer like Ben Hutton to troll somebody like Drew. I mean, what are your thoughts on that, Jesse?
It was a great story. It was on the Point Breakaway podcast with a friend of the pods, Josh Cooper and Shane O'Brien. Now, it was a great move. Good for Matthew Tkachuk to participate, right? That was the other part of the story. Good for none of the guys on the team to rat Ben Hutton out when Doughty was trying to find out who his secret Santa was. Like you said, sure. I'm sure he knows now, but yeah, good stick taps all around to a prank well executed.
Absolutely. That's what hockey's for. To pull pranks on people.
That's right. That's the games. Who cares about the games? We just want to mess with each other. Exactly. No messing around, though, Carlin. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it as always. You can check out Carlin on Small Talk Tuesdays. That's every Tuesday on Instagram Live. And, of course, here on All the Kings Men Live when we do the social media roundup. Thanks, Carlin.
Thank you, Jesse.